When you run a YouTube channel, you naturally get left comments and asked questions. Sometimes you get asked a question that there would appear to be no answer to. And on that, I share people's frustrations. So, this week I'm not going to answer any questions, just show you how daft some things are. And hopefully we'll learn a bit and, of course, have a bit of a laugh. Hello and welcome to AAR on Air. I'm out here today potentially breaking the law. You see, the law in the UK states you are not allowed to ride one of these on the road, pavement, or even a cycle path. It is pure electric, charged from solar panels and completely eco-friendly. It gets you out in the fresh air and reduces congestion. Oh, and it helps save the planet. I can, however, drive one of these things if I had one, on the roads, off the roads, and pretty much everywhere quite legally, and do the planet no good at all. It doesn't make sense, does it? By the way, you can ride one of these in every country throughout Europe perfectly legally, which makes even less sense. Now, the next bit I've always wanted to say.
Back to the studio.
So, what was the point in that piece of film? Well, I have 3 guns here. They just so happened to be all Glock 17 replicas. They were the only matching ones I could get, and yet each one is treated totally different under UK laws. I realise the guys in America will be looking shocked and confused at this point. I have a 6mm Airsoft, a 4.5mm Airgun, and a really scary 9mm blank firing item. All 3 of these are treated totally different under UK laws. Firstly, this is a gun channel, of course, so let's take a look at each one, shall we? First up, the 6mm Airsoft. This is the cheapest of the 3 at £105 UK, but does not in any way feel cheap. It feels very solid, well made, and no rattles or tinny sounding slide. Its heavyweight feel, metal top and polymer bottom, blowback action, lock open after last shot, feels strippable, and a second safety under the front of the barrel. This is a Gen 3 and is a superb copy. The dropout magazine is not only a weighty item, but again very realistic. It holds 24 plus 1 rounds of plastic 6mm BBs. There is no 12 gram CO2 to fit or replace in this. It works off gas. And this is filled very quickly and very easily the same way as a lighter. Simply shake the gas canister, insert into the bottom of the magazine, press, hold, remove it when it's full. With your 6mm BBs loaded, using the pull down spring and drop them in the bottom, reinsert your magazine and you're ready to go. It's that easy. The power output from this is pretty low at about 1 foot-pounds or 340 feet per second, which is good because mad crazy people shoot each other with these things. Sorry, I realise this is a huge sport and I respect that, and they are all consenting adults and all that. I just have this thing in my head: you don't point a loaded gun at anyone. You know, my son-in-law has bestowed the virtues of skirmish to me several times, and I suppose I'm a wuss. He loves it, and that's the wonderful thing about all of this. Something for everyone, and that is important. Enough of that. What about the target work? Well, here we go, out at 10 metres in the indoor range. Open sights on this thing. First time as well shooting this gun. Pretty good for a low-powered 6mm plastic BB. I wouldn't claim it would be as accurate outside on a windy day though. Next up, a favourite of mine at the moment, the Airgun version of the Gen 4. Now, I'm not going to go into great detail on this one because you can take a look at the full review here if you wish. But so far as to say it is a pretty accurate replica. It's all black, quality build, has a real nice kick to it, and shoots a whole range of 4.5mm BBs from steel to plastic and most everything in between. It is, however, the most expensive at £170 UK retail. Whilst it's quite an accurate replica, it isn't an accurate gun particularly and has a tendency to shoot low. And it's not just this one. I've shot loads of these and they all seem to suffer from the same flaw. So you will need to adjust your aim point or add a laser or the like. But it is fully functional, kicks out about 1.8 foot-pounds in power and fires a steel projectile at about 307 feet per second. So whilst it wouldn't kill you, it would break your skin and pretty much ruin your day. And as such, should definitely be treated with respect, as indeed all guns should. So let's have a look at the target work with this one this time. As you can see, firing low, so an adjustment is always needed. Finally, the blank firing version. And I must say, strangely enough, this would probably make a good home defence item. And you'll see why in a while. This one is from Rite. It comes in at £129 UK, and for that, not only do you get this Gen 3 version, but you also get a rather nice case and cleaning kit, which of course you are going to need because this is gunpowder based. The gun itself is quite a nice looking replica and has a really weighty, heavy built feel to it. It weighs in at 822 grams and most of the weight is in that top hard punching slide, which gives it the most realistic feel of any of the guns here. This thing kicks. It is fully field strippable as well to help with that required cleaning. The top slide, as you can see, is coloured and it's required by law, but it isn't a vivid bright colour, so it doesn't look too out of place. It also has an orange tip at the blocked off barrel, so it does have to discharge out the top rather than from the front in the UK. The bottom is the familiar black polymer as normal. The dropout magazine is quite a light and undersized item, but it holds 14 rounds of very loud 9mm blanks. Now at this point I should say, don't go get any ideas of converting this because A, it is illegal here in the UK and will leave you spending quite some time at Her Majesty's pleasure. and B, it's been built in such a way that trying to convert this would basically require a total rebuild with barrel, magazine, bottom half, etc, etc. It is pretty much impossible. So once you're loaded up, find yourself some open space away from everyone and some quality ear defenders, because you're gonna need them. Take a look at this. Bear in mind cameras and microphone setups will adjust the volume level automatically. So because you won't get the full sound, I set up a quick dB meter to register the sound. Now I couldn't have this thing and not let Mrs. AAR have a go. It's got to be worth the laugh. Now she's not the biggest of people, so I gave her a 50 cal Desert Eagle replica just for fun. That's loud, isn't it? Imagine breaking into a house and being met with that in the middle of the night. My wife with a 9mm with all that noise is over 120 decibels, and don't forget those flames. It's got to have you thinking twice, surely. And if nothing else, it's going to wake the neighbourhood. Now my thoughts on blank firers was, what's the point? You can't hit anything or practice your target work. But I now realise they are fun, and they also have more of a feel of the real thing about them. And apart from scaring the living daylights out of someone, you can't actually hurt anyone. The only thing is, the ammunition isn't cheap. It's about £20 per 50 blanks. Oh, and you will need to add in the cost of a decent pair of ear defenders. Now, apart from any excuses to have a go with the different types of guns available for similar money, the purpose of this programme was to show you how crazy the law is around these different guns. So, you would have thought the loud, scary, fire-splitting, powder-burning item would probably be the most legally restricted of the three. Well, no. It's the least legislated out of all of them. The ammunition can be sent via the post, as can the gun itself, provided some evidence of you being over 18 can be proven. But be warned, the sound from this will attract attention, and if you're crazy enough to take this thing outside and fire it, it could, at best, result in unhappy neighbours, or at worst, in you having the local plod putting real holes in you. Oh, and there's a very real chance of you finishing up with tinnitus if you don't have some form of ear protection. So, surely the next least restricted would be the ultra low power airsoft item. Wrong again. This is the most restricted and requires proof of age, and you will need to prove one of the following. You have a current UCARA membership, or you are a member of a properly insured historical reenactment group or society, or you are or are acting on behalf of a museum, or you could simply be a Crown servant in pursuant of your Crown duties. Now, if you can't meet any of these criteria, you could still buy one if its principal colour is significantly different from that of the real firearm, i.e. bright orange, bright green, bright blue, etc. You'll also need to produce a blood test and DNA test. Okay, so I lied about the blood and DNA testing part, but it does have so many restrictions for such a low-powered gun, which leaves the airgun itself, the most powerful of them all, which simply needs to be purchased by someone over the age of 18 from an RFD shop. No postal shopping allowed, of course. And it looks more authentic to the real item, with the black colouring and licensing all over. And of course, it can do most damage. So does any of this make sense? Well, no, not to me, not really. So to all those people who have asked me to justify the UK laws around these three different types of guns, nope, I can't. I am just as confused as you guys. I suppose it simply leaves me to say to all those people who have left comments and questions on the channel, I feel your pain, frustration and confusion. Heck, I have a full firearm certificate and I couldn't go into Draper's and buy one of these. Not without it being painted sky blue pink or something like that. Now I realise that in London they are taking to the streets on e-scooters in mass numbers to force the government to take some sort of action around these electric scooters. But I don't, under any circumstances, suggest we do the same thing with any of these. We run with the laws until perhaps some sanity comes to our elected individuals in Parliament. But I'm not holding my breath. I'm not suggesting they make any guns more difficult or easy to obtain. I suppose just more proportionally licensed. I hope you've enjoyed this brief look at these different guns. But please, abide by the laws, shoot safely, and above all, remember that each and every one of us should consider ourselves as ambassadors to our sport and community. Stay safe, and thank you so much for watching.